and then we get the crescendo of the regular season, and then we are into the postseason, and the next thing you know, we're in the Super Bowl, and the next thing you know is Valentine's Day, and the next thing you know, we're in Indy, and the next thing you know, we're dead. Dr. Doom can't take the holidays off. I don't know when I said that, but I stand by it now today. It's week 17. We did a separate Picks podcast for the Christmas games. These are the rest of the games, the other 13 games to be played as we get closer and closer to the end of the season. And, 10 teams have already clinched playoff berth. There's still a lot to be determined as it relates to seeding, but 10 teams are already in, and 5 of them did not make it last year. And some people are amazed by that. That kind of happens every year. 5, 6, 7 teams that didn't make it the year before make it, and 5, 6, 7 teams that made it the year before don't.
Right. It's usually, I feel like 3 to 4, right? Isn't that kind of been the formula? We've seen at least 3 new. It's something like that. I think what's shocking this year is that just teams that we thought would definitely be there, guaranteed, right? Chiefs, Ravens, no doubt. How could we be in the playoffs without them? Them not being there is shocking. And yeah, there was clearly an upper class and a lower class in football this year. Now, 2 things here. All right, 2 things we got to figure out. One, you maybe are getting old. I mean, you said what you just said in the opening yesterday on PFT Live sitting next to me on Monday morning, okay? All right, just so you know, that's when you said it.
Usually, Pete pulls sound from the last Picks podcast. That's what confused me. And trust me, between Monday morning and Tuesday morning, my brain gets wiped because and I'm not looking for sympathy, not that I ever get any, but Monday, like from the moment I walk out of the studio, it's just freaking nonstop. It's nonstop activity. I work in the car. I get to the airport. I work there. I fly home. I sleep in the car from the airport home. I get to work when I get home, and it's Monday Night Football, and then I sleep 5 hours. I didn't tell you this. I was telling Devin earlier, Monday night's the one night of the week where I'm lucky to get 5 hours. Last night it was 4.5. In the middle of the night, my wife poked me in the eye. I still need to find out what the hell happened that caused her to poke me in the eye in the middle of the night. But, my one night where I don't get much sleep per week, I got poked in the fucking eye.
She must have been dreaming or something. Or she was just living out her fantasy, finally, of just hitting you in the face, which I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case. I mean, hey, but yeah, you're Dr. Doom, man. Dr. Doom this time of the year. Oh, there's the Grinch Doom right there. Look at that. Look at that. You look good. Improvement. Woo! Damn, open up those eyes. That's right. It looks good with that sweater, too. It's a very nice match right there. But Dr. Doom, a.k.a. the Grinch, here we go. We got good picks to talk about here, and let's get it going.
And we must say, as we always do, that every week you can play along with us. DraftKings has set up the free $1,000 Florio and Simms pick 'em pool. You pick every game against the spread for a chance at a $1,000 prize pool.
Download the DraftKings app, click on the pools tab, and enter the Florio and Simms free $1,000 pick 'em pool to make your picks.
And there are no Christmas or Saturday games in the competition, so you have until Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern, to get your picks in. There are 2 games on Saturday this year. The opening game, and this is on NFL Network, and hey, this one is oozing with playoff implications. The Texans, 10-5, winners of 7 in a row, take on the Chargers, who have looked incredible of late in L.A. The Chargers are favored by 2.5. The over-under is 39.5. You have picked the Chargers to lose just twice this year, but you have been smitten with the Texans for much of the season, and specifically their defense, which is good enough to win games all by itself. Is their defense good enough to shut down Justin Herbert, who looks better than he ever has in his 6-year career?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I've gone back and forth with this one. This will definitely not be a best bet. I'm not sure, I've gone back and gone, and I'm going to unpack it for you. I mean, one, the Chargers, the way Justin Herbert's playing is awesome. We know that. I mean, like we said yesterday on Monday's show on PFT, right? I don't know if anybody, him, Josh Allen, right, has been more valuable to their team. Yeah, the stats aren't going to back up MVP type of, voting for Justin Herbert and get him an award. But when you watch the game, it's what he's doing is remarkable. So you look at that and go, hey, the Chargers usually run the ball pretty well, right? They usually have the right game plan on the offensive side of the ball. Omarion Hampton, the way he's been running, certainly adds some to that offense. Quentin Johnston, Trey Harris, second-round pick, rookie this year. They're starting to show up a lot when you watch the Chargers. So from that aspect, you go, oh, hey, I like the Chargers. And then we know the Chargers defense. You know my thoughts. When the Chargers, if you just think you're going to throw the ball on them, you're crazy. Nobody's just going to throw the ball on the Chargers. We saw a little last week to start the game by Dallas, but that stopped once they kind of figured out how Dallas was attacking them. You got to run the ball, right? We know that. And Houston does stay patient with the run, but I don't know if they're going to be able to pass the ball consistently on the Chargers. Now, the other side of this story is, hey, the Texans are pretty balanced on offense, right? I know they were a little asleep at the wheel last week. I don't think you'll get that this week. Then the defensive side of the ball, you look at that and you know how special they are, and then we go, oh, wait, Justin Herbert, he's under pressure all the time. Oh, man, it's this group right here with this coverage and what they do on the back end. I've gone back and forth. But I'm going to go with the Houston Texans here. I'm going to go Houston Texans, late field goal, win the football game 20-17. Like I told you, it's not going to be a best bet, but I'm going to keep riding the hot hand of the Texans there.
Well, but the Chargers are the hot hand too.
I know,
and the
it's
Chargers
tough.
right now have that disrespect card. They, and they're fighting to get people to take them seriously, and that becomes a rallying cry that becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And Herbert playing through that broken hand, and he's got something with his elbow, and he went down hard on Sunday at the end of a scramble, and it's like, is he hurt again? But he says he's fine. And Jim Harbaugh just has them in that frame of mind where they're making things happen. And remember this, last year the Chargers went into Houston and lost in the playoffs. And I know that Jim Harbaugh, I mean, I don't know it as a fact, but I'm going to presume it based upon the way he is. He's not going to let his guys forget that they went in there in the postseason and the Texans beat them. And I think that's the difference. I have a late field goal from Dicker the kicker to make it 23-20 Chargers over the Texans. So we finally, in Game 4 out of 16 for the week, because we agreed on all the Christmas games, we finally disagree on one. You have the Texans. I have the Chargers. Yeah,
this is a tough one. And I told you, I mean, I totally hear what you're saying there too, right? I think this is, I guess I'm just going to play, this is the week the rooster comes home to roost, right? Right? I'm fixing that phrase because they say the chickens come home to roost, and I have chickens and I never seen them roost, so I don't know what the hell that came from. All right, the rooster comes home to roost with the bad pass protection and all the issues that Herbert's had to deal with. But I hear what you're saying too, and some of those thoughts went through my brain as well.
Yeah, I'm no chicken expert, but I would say that because the rooster is called the rooster with the word roost in it, the rooster is the one who does the roosting. That would be my
right.
Seems
simple. Obvious.
Although
right?
I don't know what roosting is, but the rooster would be the one who would
I don't know. Isn't that what
would
it is?
roost?
Yeah, all right.
Did I tell you that somebody's got chickens? I think we talked about this on PFT Live one morning. Like, my neighbor's got chickens, and I heard the rooster crowing one morning, and it was actually kind of cool.
I bet.
I kind of like it.
Yeah,
I kind of want a rooster now.
Get one. Do it.
Maybe I'll get a rooster for Christmas.
It is great. I don't know if that's the time of the year you want to get one, but you should. They're very peaceful. They're great to look at walking around the yard, doing all that, as long as they don't get eaten by animals.
To roost means to settle or congregate for rest or sleep. So your chickens apparently don't rest or sleep because they're constantly worried about being eaten by a hawk.
Exactly right. You're right. So I guess my chickens do roost then. So I'm wrong on that one. They do rest and sleep. But yeah, they've been on edge. I lost 2 in the last 10 days, so it's not been good.
I don't know how you emotionally deal with that. Like, I don't know how many, because you become attached to the chickens and you just accept the fact, that the chickens are going to fall. You know, the chickens are going to go. It's like Omaha Beach. You're going to lose chickens, and you just keep going. All right, Ravens at the Packers. That is the Peacock exclusive game. The Ravens are 7-8, holding on for dear life. The Packers suddenly are now. Look, the fact that the Lions lost to the Steelers makes it a little easier for the Packers. They just have to win one or have the Lions lose one. Green Bay will clinch with a win or a Detroit loss. So they may be clinched by the time we get to this game on Saturday night. I doubt it, though. I think that they'll need to win because I think the Lions will win. Baltimore's eliminated with a loss or a Pittsburgh win. So that Week 18 game between the Ravens and the Steelers in Pittsburgh may not mean anything. Green Bay is favored by 2.5 with an over-under of 40.5. 89% of the spread money is on the Packers. Are you?
Yeah, I'm going to be on the Packers here, right? I mean, one, well, we don't know with Jordan Love and what's going to be the case there, but I don't really care. I don't. And now I know Malik Willis is a little banged up as well, but I'm going to play that one of those two are playing. And Malik Willis, as you heard me say on Monday, it's time somebody starts to look at him and make him a starting quarterback. He's worthy of that. He's a starting quarterback in the NFL. He has really the potential to be a special starting quarterback in the NFL, not just some bridge guy, like real potential. So I'm not going to let that affect my decision. Now, the other side of the ball with the Ravens, yeah. I mean, one, what are we going to get? Is Lamar Jackson playing? I know Tyler Huntley can do some good things, but he's still not Lamar Jackson. That's for sure. And the offense doesn't change dramatically, but it does simplify a little with Tyler Huntley. Green Bay's got to be a mad football team. I mean, Matt, they kind of outplayed Denver for 3 quarters. They outplayed the Chicago Bears for about 56 minutes of the football game and found a way to lose. They got to get back on the winning track here. So that's where I look at this. And, I just wonder where Baltimore is a little bit physically, emotionally, right, with the way the season has gone and where they're at in this one. I still think Green Bay is playing like, hey, we can be one of the best teams. We can still go to the Super Bowl. I don't think Baltimore's offense is going to be able to move the ball consistently on this Green Bay defense, which is still damn good with Micah Parsons. And I think eventually as the game goes on, Green Bay will crack the code on the Baltimore Ravens defense a little bit as well. I'm going Packers here. I'm going to go 24-20 Packers win this one at home. Almost a bingo,
we almost
bango?
had a Christmas bingo, bango, bongo. I've got Packers 24-17. But, yeah, the Ravens, look, when they fell to 1-5, they pulled it together. They had the winning streak. But since then, it's been confusing again. There's that weird vibe that continues to linger between Lamar Jackson and the team. Devin and I were talking about this earlier. When John Harbaugh immediately after the game calls Lamar Jackson's injury a bruise, I mean, if I'm Lamar, I'm thinking, dude, I mean, we all get bruised. It's not a bruise.
Right.
And then they called it a contusion the next day. I just think there's just something off there. And I don't know that we're going to see Lamar Jackson. And if we do, I don't know if he's going to be 100%. And, yeah, with the Packers, will Jordan Love be cleared from the concussion? Will Malik Willis be good to go? Malik Willis, I agree with you. Somebody needs to have Malik Willis on their radar screen as a starting quarterback for 2026. And either way, this is one that the Packers are going to need this because I'm looking at this from the perspective of I think the Lions will win, so the Packers will need it to clinch. The Ravens, they may go into this thinking, well, shit, the Steelers are going to beat the Browns anyway tomorrow. Like, if we win, the Steelers are going to win, and the next week means anything. It means nothing. I think that a lot of air came out of the balloon when they blew the 11-point lead last week to the Patriots, and it's going to be hard to pump it up again in 6 days. Yeah.
I hear you there. And there's a part of me that kind of like we talked about with Kansas City, it just as far as they've climbed the mountains, so 2 years in a row here. They've been a Super Bowl contender really for 4 or 5 years in a row. They haven't got there. It does feel like the shelf life of this team may be coming to an end. So yeah, I do wonder where they are at mentally. Not that I think they give up or anything. I just think the Packers probably have a little more belief in where they're going right now.
Sunday, we get started with the Seahawks and their 12-3 record, currently number 1 in the PFT power rankings, the all-important, always binding. Why even have a Super Bowl? Just like hand out the trophy based on who finishes number 1 at the end of the regular season in the PFT power rankings. They go to Carolina to take on the Panthers, who are 8-7, and they beat the Rams in Carolina. They lost to the Saints in Carolina. They beat the Bucs in Carolina, and here come the best team in the NFL right now, 7.5-point favorites, 42.5 over under. Carolina clinches the division with a win and a Tampa Bay loss in Miami, so Week 18 would mean nothing. Panthers, Bucs, if that plays out. Also, Seahawks will clinch the West with a win and a San Francisco loss and a Rams loss. Do the Seahawks win? 88% of the spread money is on the 7.5-point home underdogs, the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks. I am. I think first off, I just look at it and I go, the Seattle Seahawks, right? I don't think they're going to let Carolina's run game run roughshod over them and dominate them that way. It's going to have to be throwing the football, and I'm just not ready to say, with this kind of team, this kind of matchup, that the Carolina passing game can just carry the squad like maybe Matthew Stafford did with Seattle last week. I certainly don't. We're seeing moments of that from Bryce Young. There's no question. I talked about that on Football Night in America with you on Monday, my pod, all of that. That's good, but I'm not ready to sit here and tell you that they're surgical and they're going to be able to do some of the things the Rams did to the Seattle defense. So I look at that and go, okay, advantage Seattle. The other side is a little bit the same story, but a little bit of the opposite take. One, I think Seattle's going to be able to run the ball on Carolina a little bit, right? They're susceptible to the run game to a degree. And then on top of that, too, which becomes scary when they become running the ball well, and you're a team that plays zone at times, I think that they'll be able to come up, play action, and find some holes in those zones where guys worry about the run and do some of that. And that's where I look at, Seattle to have an advantage in this one. It's a pretty good secondary with the Carolina Panthers. They don't play a ton of man-to-man. I don't think this is the group you want to play man-to-man against with Rashid Shaheed and Jackson Smith and Jigba. The one thing that worries me about Seattle is sometimes they lack surgicality on the offensive side of the ball. They're a little too big play reliant, in my opinion, okay? But with all of that, I like Seattle in this one. And I think it's like a late touchdown that kind of puts the Carolina Panthers away. I'm going to go 28-20 Seattle Seahawks on the road.
I've got the Seahawks winning this one by the score of 30-24. So I'm giving the Panthers the cover. And I think there's a chance the Panthers could win. I didn't have the guts to pick it.
Yep.
One of the realities is, for whatever reason, under Mike McDonald, the Seahawks have been very good on the road. They have extra time to get ready for this one, and they're playing for the number 1 seed. They still have that opportunity. They're in the driver's seat. They're going to have to beat the 49ers Week 18. And what a story that is for the second straight year. Sam Darnold with the number 1 seed on the line, going to Seattle, going on the road from Seattle to San Francisco. In this case, last year it was Minnesota and Detroit. But that could be the final game of the year. I mean, if the 49ers beat the Bears on Sunday night and the Seahawks beat the Panthers Sunday afternoon, it all comes down to Seahawks at 49ers for the 1 seed. And I think they'll do what they have to do to set that up. And that's win 30-24 over the Carolina Panthers. All right. Here's one of the games that means nothing to anyone. The Cardinals at 3-12, the Bengals at 5-10. Bengals are favored by 7 at home. Hopefully it doesn't snow in Cincinnati because we know they don't remove the snow from the seats. So they'll have a feeling if it happens this time, they'll do it. 53.5 over-under. That's the highest of the week. 89% of the spread money is on Cincinnati. And you are 14-1 picking the winner of Arizona Cardinals games, which means you have picked the Cardinals to lose a lot this year.
Yeah, well, I think that's what a smart man would do, is pick them to lose, and I'm going to pick them to lose one more time because I don't feel like – I still feel like, not that I think this will happen, and you've always brought up, I mean, the ownership and the Cincinnati Bengals, if you have years left on your contract – you probably won't get fired, but I do feel like Cincinnati's still playing for something a little bit here. Zach Taylor playing for pride, maybe not sure if his job is safe and what's going to happen there. Burrow, as we see, he's still holding himself to a standard here, and he wants to still be explosive and carry the football team on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think that changes. Against this Arizona defense, I think they have their way with the Cardinals defense. The Cardinals seem done. Checkmate. Now, where I think it could be fun, as we do see Jacoby Brissett and company, I mean, they're going to push the ball down the field, and they can be dangerous in the pass game, and we know the Bengals can let up some passes in the pass game. But with all that said, and the state of the Cardinals, and like I said, I think the Bengals do have some leadership there with Joe Burrow where they're not going to fall asleep. Yeah, I think they're going to make some big plays. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, they all go off. I'm going 35-24 Bengals at home.
34-17 Bengals. And you mentioned Zach Taylor's status, and we haven't talked about this. There's been so much else going on.
Yeah.
There was an issue last week that came up about whether his contract runs through 2026 or through 2027.
Right.
And that's important because the Bengals will not fire a coach if they still owe him anything. But remember this. Marvin Lewis had 1 year left on his contract, and he was fired. Why was he fired? Because it was a team option for the last year. We don't know what's in the contract. Even if we do know how long the contract lasts, there's a chance that Zach Taylor's guaranteed money ends after this season. You know, it used to be every penny of a contract was guaranteed until the end for coaches. I remember when it changed with Rex Ryan 12, 13 years ago. He got a new contract, but only so much of it was guaranteed. Well, it doesn't matter then if it's not guaranteed. They can fire the guy and not owe him anything. That's the real question. How much of your contract is guaranteed? And if the guaranteed money ends this year, Taylor could be in jeopardy. Either way, Burrow's having fun again. We reported on Sunday Night and Football Night in America that Burrow is not going to be the one pushing to get out of Cincinnati. It doesn't mean they're not going to get phone calls. I don't know that they'll think about making a move, but he's not going to try to make a power play. I think they get a win where they can, while they can, and feel better about themselves heading into the offseason 34-17. All right, the Pittsburgh Steelers at 9-6, they go to Cleveland. 3-12 are the Browns. Steelers are favored only by 3.5 points. We know the Browns, great defense, tough to beat at home. The Bills had a rough time with Cleveland last week, over under of 34.5. Pending the appeal of the 2-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the NFL, arising from DK Metcalf interacting and initiating contact with a fan. They may not have him right now. I'd be surprised if they do have him. Do they get the win?
Well, I look at the Steelers right now, and there's a few things that jump out to me. One, it does feel like the offense has figured some things out. And I think the biggest thing is they're running the football. They've become a little bit of a force in the run game to now where teams are starting to play run defense, and now Rodgers can get to the plays that he likes that fit run defense, where he could be safe and throw the ball outside the numbers like Kenneth Gainwell, DK Metcalf, right? Do some of that stuff there. Excuse me, do some of that stuff there where we know he's a little reluctant to throw the ball down the middle of the field. But when you get run defenses too, sometimes the middle of the field is there, and that's where we saw him hit a few people down the middle against Detroit last week. And so I'm excited about that. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, we've seen a few games here where the Steelers' front is starting to control some moments in some games, and they weren't overpowered at all by the Detroit Lions. I mean, other than one run by David Montgomery, the Lions went backwards on almost every run play in that game. I think that's shocking, right? So I think there's some things there where, yeah, maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers are kind of coming into form here late in the football year. Now, it's always scary with the Browns. And like I said last week, I picked the Bills to win, but I was like, I wouldn't be shocked if the Browns pulled an upset here. But I do think that Pittsburgh, the way Aaron Rodgers, he's pretty good at protecting the football. I think they'll know, hey, don't let Cleveland's defense win the game in this one. Let's be patient, do the right thing. I think they slowly wear down scary Cleveland, who, as we've seen, Cleveland's had the right approach. Shadur's mistakes hurt them last week. That was a big part of the game, the 2 interceptions. But they've done the right things on offense. He's moved well. He's made the right throws. But I just don't think they'll have enough offense in this one. I'm going to go 21-13 Steelers.
Okay, here's the reality as I see it. If my prediction for Saturday night is accurate, the Steelers will have clinched the division. That changes things for the Steelers. For all we know, they're going to put Will Howard out there on Sunday. We don't know. They may change their mind. They may go into the game thinking it's going to be Aaron Rodgers if we need it. It's going to be Will Howard or Mason Rudolph if we don't. A little extra rest in advance of the postseason opener for the Steelers. So I think that opens the door for the Browns to win. I think the Steelers may treat this like a preseason game. If the Packers win Saturday night, the Steelers are playing for nothing other than a 10-win season. And who cares? All that matters to them now is winning in the playoffs, and I think that's going to be their top priority moving forward. I think it opens the door for the Browns to steal this one 20-16 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, that's premised on the Packers winning. I'm not asking for an alternate pick. Hey, if the if the Ravens win, I want to switch to the Steelers, but I will believe the Steelers will win if the Ravens win. If the Packers win, I think the Steelers take their foot off the gas and start resting guys for the playoffs.
That would be scary. I would go, then you're going to be a one-and-done football team if you do that. If you're not that good to take 3 weeks off of football before you play, right? I would go, you're finally starting to play good football. Now's not the time to take the foot off the gas pedal, right? And maybe you're right. Maybe Mike Tomlin's got the confidence in his veteran football team to do that. But they got to prepare this week like they got to play. That's for sure. And I wouldn't want to lose the hot hand they got right now. There's one thing about maybe week 18, but man, to go 2 weeks in a row not playing and then wait a third week till you play again. This ain't the Kansas City Chiefs or the Patriots in their prime. Excuse me. I think that would be a little scary.
But you know what? What if you and we're just kind
spitballing
of
here,
thinking out loud here. You go the whole week of preparation as if the guys are going to play, which isn't like typically giving shutting it down and giving the starters a week off. They know that they're treating the final week of the regular season like it's a preseason game, and they're not really going to go all out. They prepare as if they're going to play to win, and there's value in that. And then at the last minute, they decide they're going to rest the guys. And then maybe next week, they treat it like a real game, try to get to 10 wins, take out a little frustration on the Ravens, and use that as the springboard into the postseason. That's one way to look at it. I just think if the Steelers have the division won, it's a different vibe, and the Browns are good enough to take the game if the Steelers aren't really as locked in as they otherwise would be if they were still trying to win the division. All right. The Jacksonville Jaguars visit Indianapolis to take on the Colts. The Colts now 8-7. They started 7-1. They've lost 6 of 7. Phillip Rivers looked pretty good. There were a couple quackers. There were a couple throws that he made that made me think it was the black confetti that kept wafting around. But he had a good night overall. The Colts were in it. They aren't giving up. They are still alive. The Jaguars are pretty damn good, though, and they're coming in at 11-4, and they have their sights set on winning the division. They win it with a victory and a Houston loss at the Chargers. Of course, they'll know by Sunday whether or not the Chargers have beaten the Houston Texans. The Colts are eliminated with a loss or a Houston win or a combination of 6 other outcomes. So who do you like in this one? Jaguars favored by 6.5, over under a 47.5.
Jaguars are hot. Jaguars are still a team that can be the 1 seed. They got lots to play for. They're flying high. They're confident. Like you said, Phillip Rivers did some amazing things on Monday night, and he really did. I mean, with some of the stuff he did at the line of scrimmage, getting them in the right plays, I mean, I'm amazed by it. I really am. I mean, that was incredible. I know I texted you in the first 2 drives. I was like, he's cracked the code. They know how to attack this 49ers defense. The problem is that Shanahan and Brock Purdy destroyed the code with the Colts defense. They destroyed it. I mean, that's the problem with the game. I mean, Phillip Rivers and the offense played good enough to win. The defense has got to show up. They didn't show up. They won't show up this week either. The Jaguars are too hot on the offensive side of the ball. The Jaguars are more talented than the 49ers. The Jaguars defense will not get shredded like the 49ers defense did. They have more schematical versatility, and they have a more talented defense than the San Francisco 49ers. I think this is a dominant win by the Jacksonville Jaguars here. I'm going to go 34-20 Jags.
I have the Jaguars winning this one by the score of 30-20. Another somewhat near bingo, bango, bongo.
It's funny. I had 30-20 written down first, and I crossed it out, just so you know.
We are fully on board with what the Jaguars are doing. I know Trayvon Walker doesn't want anyone on the bandwagon. Well, you don't get to choose who gets on the bandwagon. The fans are allowed to get on any bandwagon they want. They're riding this whole smaller market comment that Sean Payton made in passing last week as a rallying cry. And whatever works, do it. Do it. It is a smaller market. All he did was state the obvious. Nobody got to see their game last week. That's another reason to kind of wave that flag. I think they go into Indy. They take care of business. They get closer and closer to clinching the division, 30-20. All right.
Sean Payton, I think, was saying that compliment as a compliment to Jacksonville. That's the funniest thing about it. He was literally saying they're much better than everybody realizes. They're a small market team, and not everybody knows how good they are, right? But I love it. Liam Cohen doesn't give a shit. He was like, we're using it as bulletin board material.
Well, and Sean Payton said yesterday Liam Cohen was looking for a rallying cry, and as we learned early in the season, don't put Liam Cohen's name in your mouth because that happened with, him and Robert Saleh.
Right,
so
right.
maybe there'll be a Broncos-Jaguars rematch that won't go to 2% of the country in the postseason. It definitely won't go to 2% of the country. It'll be a standalone game if and when that happens. All right, the Buccaneers and the Dolphins. The Bucs are 7-8. They need this one to set up a Week 18 showdown with the Panthers. Now, if the Panthers lose, it won't matter if the Bucs lose. But the Dolphins right now got blown out at home. It was a close game in the third quarter, and then it all fell apart. Next thing you know, it goes from 17-14 to 45-14. Dolphins 6-9. A lot of chatter about Mike McDaniel's future. Tampa Bay's eliminated with a loss and a Carolina win. 5.5-point favorites are the Buccaneers, 46.5 over/under. They started 6-2. They have really fallen apart since then. They're 1-6 since starting 6-2. Can they get it together for this one?
I'm worried about it a little bit, right? I mean, if Quinn Ewers played a few more games and had a little more experience, I'd go, watch out. This could be an upset. I mean, one, Tampa's defense is not good. Just plain and simple. There's nothing to look at. They're really not good in any area. So that's a problem. And what we're seeing here a little lately is just that Tampa's offense is a little all over the place. I mean, if it isn't for a big Emeka Egbuka throw down the middle on the last drive of the game, Baker Mayfield's barely going to get over 100 yards, if not even get over 100 yards. That's what's crazy. So, yeah, and I think Miami has the type of defense almost like Carolina where they can do some creative things on the back end and stop their pass offense. And I don't think, again, I know people are going to go, well, wait, Cincinnati passed the ball. The Bucs pass offense is not Cincinnati. That's not Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It's not the same system, and it's not as dangerous, in my opinion. So I don't think they can take advantage of it that way. I think Quinn Ewers settles in a little bit. He wasn't that bad last week. He got into a point where he had to push the envelope, and he threw a ball into a tight window. It got tipped up in the air, interception. I do think that Miami will be able to run the ball and help them out that way. I'm going to say Miami covers the spread in this, but they lose the game. 28-24 Tampa Bay.
Wow, I've got 31-23 Tampa Bay, so I've got Tampa Bay covering. They just really need a confidence booster heading into the last game of the season, the showdown for the NFC South Championship. If they don't wake up now, they're never going to wake up, and Todd Bowles quite possibly is going to be gone. It's time for the Buccaneers to find the gas pedal, especially against a lesser team. They had their chance up 14 points a couple of weeks ago against the Falcons and blew it. I think they'll get up in this one, and they'll hang on, and they'll get the 8-point win. All right, the New England Patriots heading to MetLife Stadium to take on the Jets. Mirror images here, 12-3 and 3-12. The Patriots trying to win the division. They had that great comeback on Sunday night against the Baltimore Ravens. 95% of the spread money is on the Patriots, even though the spread is 13.5 points with an over-under of 42.5. Do the Patriots cover the spread?
I think so. I do. I mean, do we know what – I mean, do we have a feel of what might happen with quarterback with the Jets or anything there? I mean, are we expecting a Tyrod?
I think they're riding with Brady Cook.
They're riding with Brady, right?
I think they're riding with Brady Cook.
Then I'm riding with the Patriots to cover the spread. That could tell you that. That's all I need to hear right there. Yeah, I mean, the Jets, it's over. The offense is despicable. And, the defense maybe has a moment here and there of being tough or whatever, but that seems to have fallen apart too. I used to have some respect for the Jets and their pass defense, but that's gone away as well. So, yeah, I'm going 31-10 Patriots.
One of the problems of the Patriots under Belichick, they would get to these late season games against their lesser division rivals, and they would periodically screw up.
Yeah.
Right? Go to Miami and lose. Mm-hmm. And it would jeopardize seeding. It was a weird way to end the season. And I think Mike Vrabel is keenly aware of that. I think about the last time they went to MetLife Stadium on the Monday night against the Giants right before their bye week. They came out and they kicked ass and they hit hard. And I think
it was in New England,
now that they had a loss,
but it's okay.
And now that they Oh, it was in New England. All right, well, close enough. It was a New York team. You know who we mean. I don't know why I keep thinking that game was at MetLife Stadium, but you're right. They wore the throwbacks and all that, knocked the paint off the helmet. I remember everything but the location. Okay, so regardless, they, I think, are going to do everything they can to stomp the Jets and finish the regular season strong and keep going for that number one seed. 35-10, the Patriots win the game, and they keep this thing rolling. After losing to the Bills, that was the wake-up call, and then they They had to, pull the rabbit out of their butts to beat the Ravens. There's going to be no rabbit pulling in this one. They're going to handle the New York Jets, and it's going to be potentially ugly. All right, speaking of ugly, not that, hey, look, I picked both these teams to win last week, the Saints and the Titans. The Saints have won 3 in a row. Tyler Shuck has the franchise rookie quarterback wins record with 4. Archie Manning previously had 3. He was 3-5-2 in 1971. Shuck is 4-3. Shuck is moving up in the odds for rookie of the year offensively. They got something with Tyler Shuck. They feel like they're laying the foundation to make a jump next year. I don't see them letting up in this game, but the problem is the Titans have never quit this year.
No.
They're 3-12. Saints are 5-10. Saints are 2.5-point road favorites. Over under of 39.5. 93% of the spread money is on the Saints. You have yet to pick the Titans to win this year. Will you be doing it today?
I thought about it, but I won't be doing it. I thought about it. I really did. But I think you said it. I just feel like, Cam Ward has been definitely playing good and making some eye-popping plays, and certainly they've helped him out a little bit. They're protecting him a little better, and he's starting to learn how to play quarterbacks in situation in the NFL. But we've seen this Saints defense is a pain in the butt. There's no denying that. Right? Brandon Staley's got them playing. And on the offensive side of the ball, like you said, they're not giving up. I mean, they're patient with the run. They're pretty creative. I like everything that Kellen Moore's been doing. Tyler Shuck come along and then some. I mean, playing in the pocket, goes to the right place with the ball all the time. And they've still got Chris Olave and some other guys that can make some plays in the pass game. I'm going to go with the Saints here. A tight one, barely covering the spread. I'm going to go 20-17 Saints. Bingo!
Oh, we need music for the bingo, bango, bongo. Didn't we? We used to have sound. We used to have something that we would play. Regardless, 20-17, Saints win the game. Saints keep it rolling. It should be an entertaining game because, again, these teams haven't quit. And you mentioned Cam Ward, 8 touchdown passes, 1 interception since the bye week. He's gradually kind of figuring it out, and it makes that job, assuming they can deal with some of the dysfunction in the front office in the Game of Thrones style that they've, this person's in charge. Well, wait, no, get rid of him. That person's in charge. Get rid of him. That person's in charge. They need to settle it down. They need a coach who comes in and provides that kind of leadership they need. Cam Ward may attract someone who would very much like to go to Tennessee and get the most out of Cam Ward, who's got the talent and he's got the will. He's got the personality. Remember how intense he was when we talked to him at the Combine?
Definitely.
He brings that intensity all the time. And I'm not ready to give up on them, but I think the Saints, just for now, will be a little bit better. All right, Sunday, late afternoon games, including the Eagles and the Bills, plus the 2026 Bowl for the first overall pick in the draft between the Giants and the Raiders. That's next on Chris Simms Unbuttoned and PFTPM. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM, Joint Mega Picks Podcast, Christmas weekend edition. We did the Christmas games in a separate show. We're working our way through the 17th Sunday of the regular season. There are only 2 games in the late afternoon window. One doesn't really matter, but it kind of does because the loser is going to have the inside track to the number 1 draft pick in 2026. The 2-13 Giants traveling to Las Vegas to take on the 2-13 Raiders. The Raiders are favored by 1.5. Currently, the Giants have the top pick, but with a loss, the Raiders will assume the pole position. 83% of the spread money is on the Raiders. You are 14-1 when it comes to picking the winners of Las Vegas games. The only one you got wrong was when you picked the Patriots to beat the Raiders in week 1. So you have assumed, as you did with the Cardinals, that they're bad, and they are. Are they bad enough to win the first overall pick in the draft by losing to the Giants?
No. I think this is where I'm picking them to win again. Here we go. Yeah, because the Giants, it's over. They've given up. I mean, they've given up. If J.J. McCarthy doesn't get hurt in that game and he doesn't get strip sack fumbled and Naylor doesn't drop a pass and put it up in the air for an interception and Jordan Addison drops a touchdown pass, I mean, it just felt like, come on, we went into halftime and Jackson Dart had, 1 completion for 30 yards? I mean, they've given up. They can't wait to get over. The Raiders, on the other hand, Gino's still playing for his life to trying to be the starting quarterback next year. Ashton Genty's trying to show he wasn't a top 10 bust. Pete Carroll's trying to show the team hasn't given up on him and trying to save his job. With all of that, yeah, I'm going to take in the ugliest fucking game of the year, right? I mean, the Pitiful Bowl in Las Vegas. I'm going to take the Raiders 20-17.
27-24 Raiders. Yeah, Pete Carroll doesn't give a shit if the Raiders have the first overall pick in the draft because I don't think he's going to be there. Even if they would want to keep him, why would he want to stay? He recently was asked if they're in a rebuild, and he said yes. Why does he want to stick around for a rebuild? Oh, hey, maybe by the time I'm 80, we'll be back to the playoffs. Like, no, I wouldn't want to be there, and I don't know why they want him. It's just not working. They have major work to do on that franchise. But I think they pull it together and win this game. Because like you said, the Giants have indeed given up. And I'm starting to wonder whether or not Joe Shane is going to be fired the morning after.
I think a lot of people are starting to wonder that.
Sooner. Everybody's assumed he's safe.
Right.
But the talent's just not there. And as we get farther and farther down the stretch, it's harder and harder to see that talent.
No, and I think that the outcry here in the New York area and how the team has looked, right? Where I 6 or 7 weeks ago, I would have been, oh, yeah, Joe Shane's going to be okay for next year. But you listen to WFAN or ESPN New York or anything like that, the fans are all like, what the fuck are we doing? Why is Joe Shane here? We should clean house and start together with something you've always said, GM, coach in there together. And where, like I said, I would have told you there's no way he's being fired, to now I'm to the point where I'm like, I don't know. I think the Giants actually might make that move here.
They're still one of the teams that follow that model where the GM gets at least 2 coaching hires and the GM is kind of in charge of everything. And I don't know that that's working. I'm not advocating that he be fired. I'm just looking at what's in front of us.
Right,
and
right.
It's not good. Okay. Hey. If I'm a Bills fan, you know what I want for Christmas?
What?
You know what I want for Christmas if I'm a Bills fan?
What's that?
Well, I'll give you a hint. Tom Brady's coming back to town.
Whoa, baby.
Tom Brady's going to be in the booth.
So you want dildos on the field is what you're saying?
Tom Brady's in the booth. And, well, no, you just flip it up over the plexiglass. They better put like a fence with razor wire or some other thing to deflect the dildos. I guess the razor wire, they would just kind of get stuck on there. So anyway, we know what they did for like each of the last 5 years that Tom Brady played for the Patriots. They threw dildos on the field in honor of Tom Brady, and he's back for the first time as a broadcaster. So anyway, late addition to the Christmas list of all Bills fans. I don't know that Santa has access to the factory, but regardless, Eagles at the Bills. The Eagles are 10-5. The Bills are 11-4. Buffalo is favored by 1.5 with an over-under of 43.5. Buffalo is eliminated from AFC East contention with a loss and a New England Patriots win. Bills are already in the playoffs, obviously, but they want to win the division.
Yeah.
Do they beat the Eagles?
Yeah, I mean, not only, they want to win the division. We know that, right? They're still playing for something right now. I'm a little worried about Josh Allen and where his foot injury is and all that, because, of course, we know his movement is so paramount to their success here. But I think the big thing to me, too, is just that Philadelphia is playing for nothing. They're playing. It's checkmate. So I think that takes a little bit of the emotions out of the football game there. And yeah, like you said, the Bills playing for something, and I think the Bills match up somewhat good with Philadelphia in some ways. Like really, if Philadelphia's offense was last year's offense, I would have gone, oh, they're going to steamroll the Buffalo Bills. But as we've seen this year, yeah, I know they ran the ball well last week and they did, had some success in the second half of the game. But this is a game where I think that McDermott and company can figure out kind of how to protect themselves in the run game, because the pass game is not all that sexy or creative. And that's usually where McDermott can find ways to slow down a more talented offensive football team. And then on top of that, we know, we know Buffalo's going to be able to run the ball. I don't think they're going to get steamrolled up front by this group up there. And I like that Eagles defensive front, but without Jalen Carter, it's not the same. And this is an awesome Bills offensive line. I think they'll be able to protect well enough. And with that run game and everything you see there, yeah, I like the Bills. It's going to be a tough, hard-fought football game, but I'm going to go 24-20 Bills.
30-27 Bills. Look, they are playing for far more than the Eagles. For the Eagles, it comes down to they're basically locked in as the 3 seed with an outside chance at getting to number 2. But the Bears hold the tiebreaker. It's not out of the question, but the Bills are still chasing down the Patriots.
The Bills can still. Am I wrong? And the Bills can still get the 1 seed. Am I wrong in that thought? Right? Is that still a possibility? I thought it was.
They still can't. They're only a game behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, look, I don't know how the tiebreakers are going to work with the Bills and the Broncos, but the Broncos presumably just show up and beat the Chiefs and get to 13-3. But they, at a minimum, are still chasing down the Patriots for the division title, which means something. It means a home game in the playoffs, and they're going to want to have a home game in the playoffs because it's their last season in their current stadium. I mean, 4 weeks in, we thought they'd have multiple home games in the playoffs. So I think they win, and I go 30-27. I could see it being uglier than that. All right, when we return, the primetime games for Week 17, including a big Sunday night game with massive postseason ramifications in the NFC, Bears 49ers. That's next on Chris Simms Unbuttoned at PFTPM.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code CORNERBACK when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
And as always, please wager responsibly, only with money that you are fully prepared to lose, because you will if you listen to me. Okay, so Sunday Night Football. This is a big one. The Bears are 11-4. The 49ers are 11-4. The 49ers are favored by 3 with an over-under of 51.5. The 49ers have their path to the number 1 seed. The Bears kind of have a path to the number 1 seed, not kind of. They're still very much alive. The Bears have been kind of charmed this year. It's the most exciting Bears team since 1985. They had that huge win down 10 points, 13-3. It's amazing to think. It's one thing to be down 10. It's another thing to be down 13-3 or 16-6, excuse me.
16-6.
And come back, and score enough points to win the game after that, 16-6. So, do the Bears continue this magical run? Prime time, we get to watch Caleb Williams stand alone. Great player, team's doing well. Rematch of the 1984 NFC Championship that the 49ers won 23-0. Do the 49ers, who are favored by 3, 51.5 over-under, do they pull this one off?
Yeah, rematch of the 1988 NFC Championship game as well, where the 49ers won in Chicago and beat that game. I worry about the Bears defense a little, right? I do worry about that. I mean, the 49ers offense is on fire right now, as we're seeing. I mean, again, they got the run game going a little bit, right? Where it's not been a huge run game year, but at the same time, it's getting going. And we know McCaffrey in the pass game, and Brock Purdy's extremely comfortable in what he's doing and really dissecting defenses, making plays. I mean, he was phenomenal on Monday night against the Indianapolis Colts. We know that. A little worried about the George Kittle injury, certainly. But the other side is a little bit of the same type of talk here. I mean, the 49ers defense is not very good. You heard Monday night, they can't get there with the front 4. That's a little bit of an issue, right? And most people can't name a lot of the people in the secondary of the San Francisco 49ers on top of that as well. So this is what I continue to say.
DeAndre Lemonor.
And right. An incredible coaching job by the 49ers, Robert Saleh, and all of that. But I think this is a tough matchup. I think Chicago's going to go in there and beat them here. I do. I think Chicago's got too many answers on offense, and it's going to pose a lot of problems for this 49ers defense. And I think on top of that, right, I worry about the Bears defense, but I'm going to play that Kittle being less than 100%, not having a full week to recover, and that there's not enough receivers to scare Chicago that way, that the Chicago Bears just have a little more offense than the 49ers in this one. I'm going to go 31-27 Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I got 27-23 San Francisco.
Right.
So you got a late Bears touchdown. I don't know why they would go for 2, but it fits the narrative. They'd go for 2 and make it 31-27. Look, I just think that the 49ers right now, they have the 1 seed in their sights.
Yeah.
That place will be nuts on Sunday night. And Christian McCaffrey, I said to you on Monday, should he get MVP consideration if they're the 1 seed and he finishes with 1,000 yards rushing, which he now has, and 1,000 yards receiving, which he's on track to get? He probably won't win, but he should get votes. He should be in the top 5 on the ballots we're going to submit in the days after Week 18. I just think the 49ers right now, they just have that vibe of they're going for it. And the reward that is there is so unexpected. It's so surprising. It was an epiphany for people who figured out, holy shit, if the Seahawks win last week, I know what it did for me. I was like, holy shit, if the Seahawks win, the 49ers win the next 3, they're the number 1 seed in the NFC. They're the team we're not thinking about.
Right.
So I think that propels them past the Bears 27-23. All right, Monday Night Football, the last Monday night game of the year. And, hey, we've seen the Falcons show up in prime time. Rams at Falcons, an old NFC West rivalry, remember?
Yeah.
The Falcons pre-2002 were in the NFC West. They played twice a year. They're getting together again. I like it at Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, Sean McVay have their history. The Rams favored by 8.5, over under a 49.5. Who do you like?
Yeah, I like the Rams, obviously, but that's a lot at 8.5, and I don't think I'm not going to have them cover the spread. It scares me a little bit, and here's why. I mean, one, you kind of said it right. Atlanta's got balance on the offensive side of the ball. That they do have. They can run the football, right? These are coaching staffs that are very familiar with each other. This is the Rams ex-coaches are the Falcons coaches. Raheem Morris, right? Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator. With some of that, I go, okay, they're going to know how to attack Mike Shula. Raheem and Olbrich will know how to, maybe make a few stops with Matthew Stafford and McVay on the offense. But again, the Rams playing for something. The Rams too good on both sides of the ball, and I think eventually come out on top. A game that's I'm going to say is a little scary for a while, but I'm going to say 31-24 Rams on the road.
34-20 Rams with the victory. I think that after what happened last week, they are going to want to make a statement against whoever they would play as they stay alive for the number 1 seed in the NFC. All right, we have our best bets and our Folsom Prison Blues picks to wrap up the Week 17 Chris Simms Unbuttoned PFTPM Joint Mega Picks podcast. That's next. We'll be right back. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM Joint Mega Picks podcast, Week 17, holiday weekend, coming to a conclusion with our 3 best bets each in the Folsom Prison Blues picks. Best bet, we each take one. We go back and forth. We see how we do. So far, I'm doing pretty well. Who's your first one for this week?
I'm going to go with the Bengals, right? I know neither team is playing something, but Cincinnati's still playing. Joe Burrow's got them still playing. That offense has got them playing. I think Arizona made their last gasp last week. They tried to fight against Atlanta. It's over. Everything might be over there. They're favored by 7. I got them winning by 11. I'm going to ride with the Bengals.
I'm with you on the Bengals. I think that they will win, and they will win easily. Who's your second one?
I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the team that you've lost your pasta and meatballs gut feeling about, and you have no feel for them at all, right? At 3.5 points, I think they're going to play. They're going to continue to ride this hot hand, right? And I think they'll play it the right way where they won't let Cleveland's defense win the football game. And I just don't trust Shedeur to take care of the football the whole game, right? So I got them covering that 3.5. I got them winning by 21-13.
By the way, if the Steelers clinch and they rest Aaron Rodgers, it could be Myles Garrett getting
That'd be amazing.
the record-setting sack against Mason Rudolph.
Amazing.
I'll take the Packers covering on Saturday night. Packers covering the 2.5-point spread over the Ravens.
All right. I'm going to go with the Patriots. The Patriots, they got a 13.5 spread. They're going to kick the shit out of the Jets. I got them winning 31-10.
I got the Bills giving 1.5 to the Eagles. Who's your Folsom Prison Blues
the Patriots
pick for
over
this
the
week?
Jets. The Patriots over the Jets.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. That's it. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Enjoy the games.
See you, everybody.
We will see you next time.
Yo. Thanks for watching, homies. We are now in the NFL season here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, game recaps, film deep dives, and much, much more.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, rate, review. Peace out. You know where to find us.